So game number 4 between these two players is going to be on Hideout, which is Vevi's home map. Vevi goes with the Bulgarians for this one. Interesting civ, should have an easy time going Man-at-Arms Tower for some feudal age aggression here. Could absolutely be an option. Vevi seems to like his infantry civs and play as well. However, Aksel the Great is with Britons for this one. He has the perfect counter to any infantry play that is not Malians. So this is going to be interesting to follow. Looks like the deer have spawned inside for both players here, so you could easily push in those to extend your food economy and get more smoothly through the ages here. Overall, looking at the map as well, most of the neutral resources are on the left hand side. Gold here, and a gold here. And then there's another neutral gold to the right for Aksel, and basically almost nothing to fight for on the right hand side. You might as well just wall off one side and keep the fighting on the left hand side where there are actually resources to contest, but that's for when you have the scouting intel in to decide. Relic positioning seems spread out all the way across the map here, 5 relics total, so we might be seeing some fighting for those as well as the game goes on. With that said, this is Hideout and I'm running out of things to talk about for the early game. Britons will most certainly go archers. Bulgarians could try for a Krepost rush, their unique building, which is like a mini castle, costing roughly half of what the castle does, and which lets you produce the unique unit Conic from it. So that's also a play here. But nevertheless, let's just fast forward to the to see if there will be any feudal age action at all here from either of the players. Scouting intel is limited for both here. Vevi going on the lookout for the enemy though could suggest some early aggression in the planning here. Goes for some extra houses here to not get housed. And from the looks of it, keeping that food count consistent for a fast castle play. Aksel the Great could go for feudal archers as well, but that's you'd need to break through the palisades on Hideout to deal some real damage here, so maybe not the best option, even with the Britons archers massing faster. But once any infantry comes forward from Vevi, Aksel the Great will certainly have to react with some of those Britons archers, which shine from the castle age onwards with their extra range, 1+1 range per age. 19 villagers for both. Loom on the way for Aksel. That's an early loom for Hideout. Could have been a compensation for idle time here, but I think Aksel may be meaning to go up here, so he will indeed go for some feudal age aggression here. And the loom is probably done for a forward villager to drop the archer range forward and start production to annoy the enemy as best they can. Interesting play here, going for the feudal age aggression on Hideout, whereas the enemy is obviously setting up for more of a fast castle player. 2 on gold, 8, 9-ish on wood, and has the barracks though, so we'll have some army presence, but there's a limit to how much men-at-arms will accomplish on Hideout, considering the palisade walls around your base where you could easily quick wall behind. Forward of Aksel will not be scouted here by Vevi because the scout is over here. When you see the enemy reaching feudal age this early, the alarm bells should ring. You should scout ASAP to see where they're coming. But the most likely place for the enemy to sneak would also be on this side, so I can see how Vevi would want to keep the scout over here just in case anything passes by, but it's indeed going to be the forward range of Aksel here on this side. 3 on gold, 9 on wood. Good setup for one range play here, and Britain's ranges work faster as well, so you have an easier time massing archers than all other civs do. Nice hill for Aksel to fall back upon as well for the archers for extra hill bonus advantage, as Vevi is going for 24 population feudal age into men-at-arms push here, but nothing's to stop Aksel the Great from dropping another range at home once the wood permits and just deal with this easily, if not just quick walling. We'll have the scouts run in over here, and Aksel takes the first hit. Could be meaning that Aksel might lose the scout, but on the other hand, that's also going to delay Vevi from scouting the forward on this side. Double range forward from Aksel, so he's really going for the the forward aggression here, whereas Vevi is trying to break in with men-at-arms, and might very well succeed here.
Ready.
Some quick walls to go up here, funneling the aggression in towards the TC. Nice from Aksel the Great here. Pulls the villagers back before finishing the houses, but will take TC fire here. Let's see if Vevi has spotted the sneak yet. I don't think that's the case. Don't even know what happened to the scouts here, but probably had a run in somewhere. It's 2 kills for Aksel, so he actually seems to have taken out Vevi's scout as well in the end. Maybe taking the hill advantage here or something to win the scouts war while Vevi is busy migrating forward. Men-at-arms causing discomfort, but not any real damage just yet. Just won a couple of more houses here and you still have to run past the TC. Meanwhile, Scout and Spear going forward here. Defensive range as a reaction of Vevi here. You'd want that against Britons anyway for the skirmishers potential. But here come 5-6 archers with fletching and a flow to continue here from Aksel the Great. And with archers and fletching, it's going to be a lot tougher to wall behind as well. Vevi tries here for a house to the side, but once this palisade gate is down, the archers could move in and try and make a breakthrough here. Men-at-arms still an annoyance, but yeah, okay, maybe they'll get a few villagers here actually. Loom is in though, so we'll take a few more hits to get them out. The men-at-arms dealing damage, getting 2 villagers there. Okay, so that's a good trade. Aksel the Great still with a slight villager lead though. Archers now forward to contest the woodline over here. Skirmishers with fletching but no armor are being picked off by Britain's archers here. Mass is also being worrying here. 8 against 7 against 4 now for Aksel. Has dealt with the men-at-arms, probably fought them off by villagers here in the end or took them by TC fire, and is now in full control of the game, being the aggressor forward. Vevi has 14 idols now, has archers in his woodline, and I think this should be Aksel the Great's game now with more villager kills coming in by the minute. Both players are producing military, but with the trickle of a few skirms at a time, the defensive capabilities of Vevi are still limited. Castle Age within grasp here, but what's that going to give Vevi before the gap can be plugged here? Aksel is stuck in Field Age for a while longer, but if he can keep the military numbers high, he could still deal more and great damage in the Field Age here. He has a 10 villager lead, so whenever Aksel goes to the Castle Age, if he keeps that TC producing, which is not the case right now, he'll keep his villager lead even with Vevi reaching the Castle Age, and Vevi will have to go into multiple TCs to match the actual villager numbers in the eco. It's now going to be 4 archers against 4 skirmstone. That's a fight Aksel can never take, and here comes the stable for Bulgarian knights. 5 villagers to stone as well. Should mean a defensive crep post here maybe from Vevi once the Castle Age kicks in. Will be only be missing, say, 150-200 stone for a crep post, and that would be a good defensive spot over here somewhere if he's able to get it up. Eight archers for 6 skirms, still not with the defense upgrade, but also still too many numbers for these Feudal Age Britain's archers to handle. Aksel committing to the Feudal Age here, and still missing quite a lot of food and gold to go up, but military presence would be key here. He has map control, admittedly, as Vevi will have to be on the constant defensive here for a while longer. Needs a little bit more stone, and the crep post will be a possibility over here. Ideally, you might even want to crep post more towards the hill to defend, to not allow your enemy to take this hill here. 4 houses, forward wall of, even forward market for Aksel here. I'm going to maybe adjust some of the economy to get up. I think he already did, and now only missing 15 food for the Castle Age click, which is underway. Knight with +1 and 7 skirmishers should be more than enough to handle Aksel's few late numbers here, but here's the wall off, and with the army to protect it, if he gets this wall off here, the skirms cannot follow. Oh, there's a hole! There's a hole! That's not easy to see behind the market there. And even with all these palisades almost finished, Aksel is forced to some micro show off again, but that's just going to keep the knight out temporarily. I think this villager is a gunner, but looking at the military, Aksel is going to lose some production capabilities here, but nothing's to stop him from looping all the way around and taking this other side again. Where did his archers go? They're inside his base now, and another range goes up at home instead. Castle Age will kick in, we'll still have at least a 4 villager lead here for Aksel once he reaches the next stage, and the forward has admittedly been a success. It's fun to see the armies taking the long way around here. Vevi probably going to try and hunt down the archers' masses, but they are going to be crossbows and coming up around here with some spears to complement them. So, what is it? 3 spears and 12 crossbows here moving forward. They have the appropriate... Actually, not Bodkadever just yet, but has the defense and that Britain's range advantage, of course. Well, hi there, Magnolia. Yeah, I'm casting some Hideout here. Not my favorite map, I'll have to admit, but we have Aksel the Great here versus Vevi, and there's a bit of an Elo upset here. Vevi took the last, well, not the previous game, but it took game number 2 on his home map, which I consider an accomplishment when it's up against an opponent roughly 200 Elo above. Vevi is in the 1300s and Aksel is in 1500 plus, around almost 1600 I think. So still some interesting matches to go. This is potentially the last match of the best of 5 as it's 2-1 for Aksel now. Krepos is up in a great spot for Vevi here though, is protecting the stone for potential further Kreposts, has also the second TC in the back here on the woodland golds, not making it easy for enemy offensive archers to move forward. There's some cavalry movement here from convicts and knights, but they will probably need to be forced home to try and deal with this as Aksel the Great takes the hill here, now with Bodkin Erwin as well for that extra Britain's range. Bulgarians' town centers only cost 50 stone, so they have a bit of an easier time getting to the multiple thesis boom as well, which Vevi is doing here. Nice defensive TCs for the economy, and also the option to catch up in villagers, considering that Britain's player is... Never mind, also on 3 TCs, Britain's TC is also cheaper in the wood department. But nevertheless, we'll keep the archers' aggression out because they can't pass through TC fire easily. Skirmishers go down as well. They are only village skirmishers without armor, so with the extra Britain's range, that was an easy pick-off for Aksel the Great here with 24 to 16 KD now. Oh, trying to break through here, or unless they get trapped, they're at least going to be should be picking off this villager if Vevi spotted this one. I think Aksel got a bit lucky there. Maybe going to try for another sneak on this side or something. Has a stray crossbow here. Knights are almost let in, but a nice quick wall from Aksel the Great, again keeping those knights out, now sending some crossbows to deal with them, so the knights and Conic will need to back off here. University now on the way for Aksel the Great as well. That's going to allow for the ballistics research, which will have the archers fire even more accurately, especially needed for Britain's missing Thumbring, and that their archers will be a little bit more accurate. Pikeman is in, as we can see as well here for Aksel the Great. No upgrades whatsoever though, so Knights and Conics could still contest them to some extent, but here comes the sneak forward again on the opposite side now from Aksel the Great. His eco setup is gold-wise allowing for the Imperial Age, but food count not quite there yet. Looking at Vevi's economy though, 20 villagers behind, even though having 3 TCs up, same as the opponent. So still a bit behind there in military and villager numbers. Overall population is about 40 more for Aksel. But nice spot there from Vevi, sending the Conics forward, making short work of this sneaky man here, trying to drop some forward siege or buildings here. Ballistics on the way for Aksel the Great, as mentioned, will have the crossbows being more powerful, more ranges go up here as well. Both, I would say both 4 ranges were lost, but that's not the case. There's another one here. And with this Britain's extra +1 range, could even march in and deal some sneaky extra damage here. Conics will try to break through here, but their pierce armor is limited here, so we might see the crossbows getting some pickoffs for free here, as there's even a pikeman in the mix here. So when I see these kind of numbers, I get kind of worried for Vevi here. Is 42 military of the opponent up against only 10, and also the villager count is higher for Aksel the Great here. We'll be getting some kills here though, so that's going to even it out a little bit, but not nearly enough, I'm afraid. As handcart is on the way for Vevi. So thinking about Imperial Age here? Not really. 4 TC boom with handcart is going to boost the economy as well, and having 4 TCs against the enemy's 3 should be an option to even out the numbers as well. But if you look at Aksel the Great's setup now, he has the resources for Imperial Age now, only missing the second building, which is the monastery, to make that Imperial Age click. And let's see where he queues that one. Well, he has the option anyway. Probably going to happen very soon. That means he'll have access to arbalests, and yet another +1 range for the Britain's ranged unit here. Nice wall off as well, keeping the Conics out for now. And as we can see, Imperial Age on the way for Aksel the Great, whereas Vevi committing to at least 4 town centers here. Will be catching up in villager numbers and economy, but will be behind in terms of technology. Good addition of an outpost over here to try and neglect any expansion and sneaks of Aksel the Great here. 1 crossbow is not going to be enough to deny this from going up, but at least Aksel the Great will just pass it, apparently. I was going to say see it, but yeah, that's going to go down to villagers. Not too often you see that. Here comes the rest of the army though. It could be in time to deny the crepost, we'll see. It's going to be tight, I think, with this mass of ranged unit. If Aksel patrols in, he'll get the shots necessary to deny this crepost from going up. And here comes the army from the other side as well. 63 military now for the Britons. It's just ridiculous how quickly the Britons' ranges work to get you to the large army numbers. Crepost Conics come here to challenge this army and maybe to help force this Crepost up, but with this mass of units from Aksel the Great, soon to be Arbalest even, I think the crab posts should be made, should be going down easily here to these masses. Aksel could easily engage here, pikes with +1 defense as well now, but the dismounted conics should die easily to Archer's fire as well, so this should be Aksel the Great's fight, I believe. Imperial Age is in, whereas Vevi is getting close to it. If the buildings are in place, Vevi could click the Imperial Age now as well, which he does, but is seriously behind the military numbers still, with 49 to 8 here overall. Population is of essence here. It's 60 more population overall for Aksel the Great. He has more villagers. He has significantly more villagers as well, with 53 to 3. Krepos still not up, and if Aksel the Great is somehow able to drop a forward castle soon, he could also extend his forward here with a castle to fall back to for his archers to hide, and then have traps out to deal with buildings here. Britons only get capped ram, so if Vevi with the Bulgarians can get to the Imperial Age and siege ram, he would have a great option to soak enemy archer fire and then take out buildings and maybe get some skirmishers hits on the archers while the archers fire at the siege rams, for example. But that's for the long game here, and Aksel with the earlier Imperial Age and massive military lead should still be able to close this one out. Drops more ranges forward. He'll need something to deal with Krepos though, but if he, as Britons, goes into the capped rams here, they should make quick work of the Kreposts as well. Not to mention Trebs that would take down Krepos, they may be 8 shots total. Forward range is down though, so Vevi somehow dealt with that one. Imperial Age on the way, one Arbalest staying in the opening here by the wall, so it's an Arbalest wall over here to cover that gap. Forward castle is on the way. This Krepos probably will never be allowed to go up, might even be taken out by Archer's fire here, and the military count of 80 to 17 being a piece of worrying here. New Bulgar Imp is so strong, if he goes for siege immediately, blue won't have a good answer. You're right about that, and the eco justifies siege ram maybe, but Vevi here seems to commit to the conics, has some scorpions out though, not too bad of an addition. But will at the very least need heavy scorpions to deal with the masses here, I think. Forward castle comes as well, we'll be looking at the Tribors here maybe. Aksel even going into Halberdier against the conics mainly here, and will, as said, have a forward castle to fall back to here. Vevi might not even see this going up. Yeah, yes, the line of sight to see it actually. But it's true, if Vevi is somehow able to get to siege ram and soak some archers fire and then some other units to back the attacks, and it could shift the favors here. But now Halberdier is already in with some upgrades here, and the ball of Arbalest is just too much to handle, I think. Aksel even getting arson here for the infantry line, so he might be going for some infantry units here. Maybe a preemptive counter against Vevi's option to go for military against the Halberdiers as well. Vevi is the first one to get the trap out though. Aksel is prioritizing conscription first here, but also stonewalling off on this side to make sure that Vevi doesn't make any sneak move with cavalry from the other side. $77 to 35 military now. I don't see any more ranges added for skirms from Vevi though, but there's the siege, there's some scorpions inside here. Eco seems to be fragile as compared to the Britain's pop-capped situation here. Lots of economy in the bank still for Aksel the Great here. And again, a ridiculous mass of Arbalest. Only missing Ye Omen now, the Britain's unique tech, for another +1 range on these units. Vevi is going into rams though, going for the capped rams here first, and then let's see if Eco will permit siege ram, maybe with 41 on food here. Aksel with his own trebs out now. Arbalest should still leave with the Conics. They're not... Well, they are elite, actually, and have some high damage output here, but Vevi will need some siege to tank arrow fire for Conics to work against this combination anyway. I think Vevi has to consider dropping some more ranges and go into mass skirmishers as soon as possible as well. Siege Ram on the way, so patient playing for Vevi here, waiting to take the fights until the appropriate upgrades are in. Archers are spread out, means that the Conics could get some good hits in here, and there are cripples to produce from here. Army mass is increasing for Vevi and nearing the numbers of Aksel here. They seem to be very solid late game players, both of these two. But it's still Aksel on the forward, and with such a much stronger eco to back everything here. 2 relics as well against 1 for Vevi. Vevi needs to deal with this castle before he can comfortably engage with the Conics here. His own defensive castle is at risk of going down, and as the Trebs attack new buildings here, the cripples will go down quite easily. Siege Ram in the mix here, Conics running in to deal with Arbalest as well, but Aksel has an easy time to replenish units here now. He has so many ranges to produce from forward here. Rohirrim charge, yes, indeed. But I don't think it's going to be enough for Vevi here still. There's still Halberdiers coming into the mix as well, and then you'd have Arbalest to deal with the dismounted Conics. Will he fall back here? He's going heavily into stone here, Aksel, so he shouldn't have any trouble dropping a new castle. But Siege Ram is a threat here. Aksel the Great's best option to deal with Siege Rams here are Halberdiers for the time being. And they need to deal with the Conics here. Right now. Yeah, Vevi has the military lead now, 53 to 33 here now. And Siege Rams stay making quick work of production here now. Nice comeback indeed. This Vevi with the army lead now and the eco looking pretty sharp here. This side, dropping a Krepos now as well, just to get the heads up if anything happens on this side. But now Vevi is in the leading move here with some mobility and everything. Something that Britons don't have at this stage with Arbalests and Halbs. Bulgarians apparently not to be messed with late game here. I think Aksel the Great will need to re-establish. Alright, going into Britain's Cavalier here actually. Interesting. Cavalier 12 plus 4. Missing the defense here. But then there's Conics with 14 plus 4. They are stronger. And look at the production tab. So Vevi not committing anything more here, but also close to being pop capped here. Yeah, I don't quite understand the Cavalier's choice here, but it could be the eco setup that actually allowed it here. But you're missing that... Never mind, there's the +2. I guess the idea is to deal with heavy Scorps and Rams and everything here. But, yeah, high population for both of them. And then there's the HP difference of the units. It's Cavaliers with 120 HP, Elite Conics also with 120 HP here. Not to mention that Elite Conics also get dismounted Conics when they are defeated, so should be an easy win for the Conics here against the Cavaliers. Aksel will have to go into trash ASAP. Here are the Scout, soon to be Light Cav. And Vevi will need to go into Halberdiers now. Going into Pike right now, also Light Cav himself, and Bloodlines, which he was missing actually for the Conics. That's a huge upgrade to be missing for the Bulgarians in this setup. I'm gonna check if Vevi has the unique tech, the Stirrups as well, from the castle. Because that could be huge. Cavalry attack faster. He doesn't have that one either, so actually, with the current upgrades, Cavalier for Aksel, it's not the worst choice ever, considering that Vevi was missing both Bloodlines and Stirrup for his Cavalry here. Losing numbers, unfortunately, KD still positive for Vevi. Has forward going on this side, but fortified walls are already in for Aksel the Great. He's going to fend off this for the time being. Lots of barracks for Vevi going into pikes for now. If he gets the unique tech of Bulgarians, the Bagains here now, he will have more armor for his His oh, it's only the militia line, never mind. But if he goes into the two-handed swordsman here with the unique tech, he will have very tanky two-handed swordsman to deal with his halberdiers moving forward here. More crepos and stables and everything coming up here. Heavy Scorpion is researched, so has a few of those. Could exploit some choke points here maybe, but here comes Aksel the Great with another forward castle and another relentless push. Now not so many are left, more of everything else here. And halberdiers obviously makes sense when Vevi has gone this heavily into cavalry. Just tosses halberdiers into the trebs here to try and deal with them. That's going to be great trades. Aksel spending resources very consistently here. That's why his eco tab looks so low, whereas Vevi has lots of resources in the bank, but much lower population overall. Rangers coming up again as well. That should mean some more arbalest in production from Aksel here. He has this gold to take as well, so gold isn't an issue just yet. Trebs going down to light cab and different kinds of units here. Arbalest with a +5 here. Trebs firing at the castle. Arbalest could even outrange Krepos there, so you could use Arbalest to take out Krepos if you wanted to. But the main target being this castle for now, and Vevi struggles to keep the population up here. It's down 100 population now, 62 to 1 military as some light cab come in to raid for Aksel the Great here as well. Britain's light cab not the strongest, but still a usable raiding unit. You see the HP difference here as Bloodlines for Bulgarians gives another 20 HP. But now it looks like Aksel's push will succeed here. Stone walls never completed on this side, but also with fortified walls over here will somehow keep the aggression out here. But Vevi made the way through actually, so still pushing a little bit on this side. I like it. Now using villagers to deal with this watchtower as well. That probably won't go up, and Vevi will be getting some villager kills on Aksel the Great's side. Stone situation for Vevi, only allowing one more Krepost though. Now it's more resources in the bank for Aksel the Great, keeping the population as high as can be here, almost staying pop capped consistently. Castle is down, thesis will go down. This might very well be British Warwolf Treb as well, dealing with one building each here, one for the TC, one for the Krepost here, and Vevi is just losing more and more ground. All this blue on the map here giving so much map control to Aksel the Great. And when the resources run out, if they do, then Aksel is in a better spot to take trash fights here as well. We have to look at the army numbers here as well. It's 69 to 11 here for Aksel the Great, sending in raids, clearing out Vevi space, and the game is nearing the 1 hour mark, but I think there's no way back from Vevi for this one now. Raids everywhere. Great game on Hideout, almost a comeback there from Vevi against a player arguably a lot stronger elo-wise. So very well played to both players, but it's going to be Aksel taking the 3-1 here and moving on to the semi-final of the Silver League bracket here. This is all lost because of lack of bloodlines and stirrups. Yeah, that's true. That was very crucial technologies to have. Massive KD for both players though. Vevi with the higher one in the end, but never made it to the largest army. A good switch from Aksel the Great as well, going into a combination of trash, or mainly trash in the end, and still had the numbers to fight off. Stronger eco overall. Earlier imp time as well, but the first push failed, as is said. Good choices of Vevi to go into Siege Ram and cavalry there to deal with what was mainly arbalests, but then more relic gold for Aksel the Great, higher villager high, and overall military lead in the positions here.